I was exploring solarpunk, futures, design fiction, and narratives with students recently. During the call, the seemingly inescapable subject of Elon Musk came up, and we ended up talking about the upcoming November 30th launch of the Tesla Cybertruck. I canvassed the group's opinions on the vehicle, and the discussion was pretty interesting. Some of them thought the design looked like it was straight out of a PlayStation 1 game, and that it was pretty cool. Almost all of them agreed that the unveiling of the product, where Tesla's lead designer threw a metal ball at the truck's so-called unbreakable armor glass windows, shattering both of them, was a PR disaster. The subsequent derision the company received in the media and online, combined with the truck's design, gave the whole event, to quote a student, a whiff of Musk. In order not to get too bogged down in the Schadenfreude and the current court of opinion around Musk and Twitter, etc., we googled the truck's features and looked into the vehicle's specs. Tesla claims a 500-mile range. Like most EVs, it has 120 and 220 volt charging outlets, as well as an onboard air compressor and bulletproof cold-rolled steel body panels. The single-motor rear-wheel drive base model is said to tow up to 3,500 kilograms, a figure upgraded to a whopping 6,300 kilograms on the triple-motor four-wheel drive edition. It also has a so-called biodefense mode that makes use of a user-serviceable HEPA or high-efficiency particulate air filter, capable of capturing 97% of particles as small as 0.3 micrometers in diameter, and a secondary filtration system that claims it will remove odors, gases, bacteria, viruses, pollen, and mold spores. Okay, we all said. That sounds like a lot of unnecessary features. In fact, the whole thing, from its announcement in 2019 through the years of delays and its launch next month, all seem a bit unnecessary. But then I asked the question, what is the average age of a car on the road in America in 2023? And the answer is 12.5 years old. By the way, if you haven't already guessed, tutorials with me are basically like a long group episode of Come Internet with me. Having spent the main bulk of our time talking about Solarpunk and the near future as a container for narrative exploration, I asked another question. What does the near future of 2035 look like? What's the climate supposed to be like? And can you imagine the Tesla Cybertruck existing there? 2035 is a place where the UK has apparently reduced its emissions by 78% compared to 1990 levels. The current Biden administration has claimed the ambition of a carbon pollution-free power sector by then too. In order to hit the 1.5 degree target, we, the world, need to have slashed carbon emissions and fossil fuel use by nearly 2/3 from where we are right now in 2023. Europe's record-breaking 2022 heatwave last year will be the average summer. This future might also include full coral reef extinction and rising sea levels. Just this week, as I make this show, Hurricane Otis went from a tropical storm to a Category 5 hurricane in less than 12 hours. And only 3 months ago, New York skies were orange after Canadian wildfire smoke blanketed North America. Let's just take a moment to remind ourselves that the distance between the future of 2035 and where we are today is the average age of a car on the road in America. Most of the stuff around us, in the here and now, is going to still be around then. To foreshorten the Gibson quote, the future is already here. When I talk about using Solarpunk as a lens to explore climate futures, one of the things that I say it tries to do is to look laterally at what's already in the world and project it forward. The beat-up, patched-up Cybertruck of 2035, a decade post-launch, with its struggling HEPA filters, aftermarket roof replacement solar panels, and tyres that have seen better days, is a different product and object than the one that's getting released next month. I'm interested in futures that aren't brand spanking new, but lived in. It's been 45 years since Star Wars showed us the boilerplate future, one where things are reused, adapted, and bear the mark of time. The Cybertruck of 2035 isn't a gleaming symbol of the now, but a mundane part of everyday life. If you plant an acorn the same day as you buy a Cybertruck next month, it will only have grown 1/3 of the way towards its full height by 2035. I had previously in the session railed against eco-brutalist future visions of skyscrapers with lush green rooftops and their sides covered in trees. The Solarpunk asks welfare questions about arborists and tree surgeons abseiling down with electric chainsaws, pruning and keeping people at ground level safe from falling debris. I think stressing that all futures aren't brand spanking new, but lived in, is an important starting point. I call lived in futures second-hand futures. Not because everything is old, broken and patched up, but because, as I've said before, we've got 10 years to save the world, but it's going to take 100 years to do it. Planting a tree today is a long-term decision. The second-hand future is about imagining what happens next, after we pass the world of today into tomorrow's hands.